Cyrano, new film adaptation of an old stage play which was in turn based on the exaggerated life story of the real person Savinien Cyrano de Bergerac, a 17th century poet. The story has been adapted multiple times, on stage, into a Broadway musical, and into movies. This latest version was directed by Joe Wright and stars Peter Dinklage, Haley Bennett, Kelvin Harrison Jr., and Ben Mendelsohn. The story goes like this. Roxanne is a young maiden, still unmarried, to the chagrin of her governess Marie. She insists on not marrying for money or status, but instead for love. And one day she does fall in love at first sight with a new recruit at a local guards regiment. He's named Christian. She asks her good friend Cyrano, who is also a part of the regiment, to kind of take care and protect the young man and hopefully strike a connection between them. Problem is, Cyrano has been deeply in love with Roxanne himself for many years now, but he is afraid to confess his feelings because he's ashamed of his appearance. Now, in the original play, the reason for that was the shape of his nose, which he was very conscious about. In this adaptation, it's changed to be the fact that he's a little person. However, he is still excellent with words. His poetry as well as banter are full of wit and charm, which is something Christian himself severely lacks. So Cyrano decides he will help Christian win the heart of Roxanne by writing love letters for him. As he says at one point, Christian will make Cyrano handsome and Cyrano will make Christian a poet. So, it's a costume musical centered on a romance love triangle with a bit of wartime sorrow sprinkled in the second half, and overall I found it to be pretty okay. I think the performances are the best part probably. Particularly Peter Dinklage is really the heart of the film, the emotional core. His facial expressions especially are great, and then the way he uses even just eyes and then simple looks to convey a lot of things with just one simple expression. And even though I'm not a fan of his singing, I think he makes the role work anyway. The other leads are much better at performing the songs, which I found surprisingly catchy for the most part. Most of them are very traditional, definitely, what we're used to from a musical, but there are one or two moments when it gets a bit more modern with elements of rap, I suppose. In any case, musically speaking, it's pretty good. I like the costumes and sets. I think that the film really manages to transport you into this world that it's building. The dance choreography and the camera work is at times amazing, with many sequences utilizing these long unbroken takes, which is something that I personally particularly enjoy. However, what I didn't like was the ending, the resolution of the story. Now, I know this is mostly faithful to the book, but I just found it to be fairly abrupt in terms of both the tone shift and the sudden ending to the love triangle plot. Switching to the warfront location in the second half isn't that bad itself, but the problem is it feels like it doesn't lead to anything interesting in the end. There's a great somber song, there's the supposed emotional climax, and then we just jump to the epilogue, which felt a little bit weird, almost like an afterthought. It just didn't land emotionally for me, put it like this. But having said that, I think that the early parts of the movie are still strong enough to still recommend the film to fans of musical, fans of romance, or fans of costume films. If you don't like any of those though, this is probably not a movie for you, regardless of the quality of its ending.